Here are 100 general knowledge questions and answers about Puducherry, covering history, geography, culture, politics, and tourism. Basic information. What is the capital of Puducherry? Puducherry City. Puducherry was formerly known as Pondicherry. Puducherry is a union territory of which country? India. How many districts are in Puducherry? 4. Name the 4 districts of Puducherry: Puducherry, Karakal, Mahe, Yanam. Which sea borders Puducherry? Bay of Bengal. What is the official language of Puducherry? Tamil. What other languages are spoken in Puducherry? French, Telugu, Malayalam, English. What is the area of Puducherry? About 492 square kilometers. What is the vehicle registration code of Puducherry? PY. What is the literacy rate of Puducherry? Approx. Around 85%. Puducherry is famous for which European influence? French. What is the climate of Puducherry? Tropical. What is the time zone of Puducherry? IST, Indian Standard Time. Which state surrounds Puducherry district geographically? Tamil Nadu. History. Which European power ruled Puducherry for most of its colonial period? France. When did the French establish Puducherry? 1674. Who was the famous French governor of Puducherry? Dupleix. Puducherry was transferred to India in which year? 1954. When did Puducherry officially become part of India legally? 1962. Which war affected French control in Puducherry? Carnatic Wars. Who were the rivals of the French in India? British. What was Puducherry called during French rule? Pondicherry. Which Indian leader is associated with Puducherry's freedom movement? V. Subbiah. Which saint/philosopher lived in Puducherry? Sri Aurobindo. What ashram is associated with Sri Aurobindo? Sri Aurobindo Ashram. Which woman is associated with Auroville? The mother, or Mira Alfassa. Puducherry was part of which colonial territory? French India. Which treaty returned Puducherry to France after British capture? Treaty of Paris. When was the name changed from Pondicherry to Puducherry? 2006. Which ancient dynasty ruled this region? Cholas. Puducherry was an important port in which era? Colonial era. Which freedom struggle influenced Puducherry? Indian independence movement. What does Puducherry mean? New town. Which empire preceded European rule here? Vijayanagara Empire. Culture and society. Puducherry culture is a mix of Indian and which culture? French. What is the famous township near Puducherry? Auroville. What is the Matri Mandir? A meditation center. Which festival is widely celebrated in Puducherry? Pongal. What is Bastille Day celebrated for in Puducherry? French heritage. Which dance is common in Puducherry? Bharatanatyam. What is a popular food in Puducherry? Seafood. What style of architecture is seen in Whitetown? French colonial. What religion is most followed in Puducherry? Hinduism. Which church is famous in Puducherry? Basilica of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. What is unique about Puducherry cuisine? French and Tamil fusion. Which sport is popular in Puducherry? Cricket. What is Whitetown known for? French architecture. What is the traditional dress in Puducherry? Sari and dhoti. What is the main occupation of locals? Tourism and fishing. Which art is practiced in Auroville? Sustainable living arts. Which beach festival is popular? Beach festivals. Which handicrafts are popular? Handmade paper. What is the lifestyle in Auroville based on? Peace and unity. Which language reflects French influence? French. Geography and tourism. Which famous beach is in Puducherry? Paradise Beach. Which promenade is famous? Rock Beach Promenade. Which lake is near Puducherry? Austery Lake. What type of coastline does Puducherry have? Coromandel Coast. Which ecotourism site is popular? Austery Wetlands. Which garden is famous? Botanical Garden. Which lighthouse is located in Puducherry? Old Lighthouse. What is Serenity Beach known for? Surfing. Which river flows near Puducherry? Gingy River. Which place is famous for backwaters? Chunambar. Which street is famous for cafes? Mission Street. Which area is known as French Quarter? White Town. What is the best time to visit Puducherry? October to March. Which water activity is popular? Scuba diving. Which island beach is famous? Paradise Island. Which park is family-friendly? Barati Park. Which heritage walk is popular? French Heritage Walk. Which museum is famous? Puducherry Museum. Which ashram attracts tourists? Sri Aurobindo Ashram. What type of tourism is Puducherry known for? Spiritual tourism. Politics and economy. What type of government does Puducherry have? Union territory with legislature. Who is the head of Puducherry? Lieutenant Governor. What is the Legislative Assembly strength? 30 members. Which Parliament House represents Puducherry? Lok Sabha. How many Lok Sabha seats does Puducherry have? 1. What is the main industry in Puducherry? Tourism. Which sector is growing fast? IT. What is the main source of revenue? Tourism and taxes. Which agricultural product is common? Rice. What type of fishing is common? Coastal fishing. Which economic activity is important? Handicrafts. Which small industries are popular? Cottage industries. Which port serves Puducherry? Puducherry Port. Which currency is used? Indian rupee. Which bank operates here? RBI regulated banks. Which transport connects Puducherry to Chennai? Road. Which railway station serves Puducherry? Puducherry Railway Station. Which airport is nearest? Chennai Airport. Which highway connects Puducherry to Chennai? East Coast Road. What type of trade happens here? Local and international tourism trade. Which tax benefit is known historically? Lower excise duty. Which education sector is strong? Higher education. Which university is famous? Pondicherry University. What is a major employment sector? Services. What makes Puducherry unique in India? Its French colonial heritage. Thank you.